We're already into April, and I am feeling like this is blowing away time already. So I'm using Tombow markers again, and just a pair of scissors that you'll need. And the printable for this month is kind of springy, which I'm really happy about. And I'm using some bubble wrap this time, and this gray stuff is actually shelf liner, like you line your kitchen cabinets with. And then of course I've cut out the images that I'm going to use for this month's plan. And I always look at this, and I'm coming to this page and I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do this time? What do I want this to look like? So just so you know, I don't plan, oh, I'm going to put a square here and I'm going to use this color. I don't plan any of this. Shockingly, I'm not a huge planner on things like this. I like for it to just sort of come together. So I grabbed the blue Tombow and just put it down to see what was going to happen. And I started making squares and rectangles, and I guess I was thinking I was just sort of segmenting, which I need to be doing a lot of segmenting right now because I'm looking at the month and I have a lot of stuff going on. And as much as I'm not, quote unquote, a planner, I am a thinker. And doing these squares, I think, kind of helped me compartmentalize a little bit. And then I wanted to grab another color and add something else to it because I know this is not a one and done. I know April is going to be packed and busy, and I'm super happy about that. But I want to bring in as much color, and doing this type of exercise, I guess you can call it an exercise, I don't know. Doing this with this marker just helps me clear my brain and figure out what and how and if, and, get some ideas to help me think more clearly. And this is kind of a cool salmon, kind of a salmon color, and it's one of my favorites in the Tombow markers. And I like using that one, and there's a pink that kind of goes with it that I really like. And these are kind of the colors that I used with the printable for this month. I think I did that last month too. So I'm using just the marker on the bubble wrap. I know a lot of times in some of my other videos you see me use paint, and you can use markers, especially these brush markers. You can use them kind of the same way you would paint, or you can use them like you would watercolors, which is really cool and fun. I'm doing the same thing with the shelf liner that I did with the bubble wrap, and just putting it randomly here and there and wherever. And I changed colors. I was going to use the pink, and I decided to go back and use more of that salmon color again, I think. Or that might be one of the pinker. I don't remember. Nope, it's kind of the pinky salmon that I have. And I just wanted background. I just wanted simple, no fuss background. Even though I say I'm not a planner, which I'm not, I do like to take these images and decide kind of where I want them to sit, be placed on the page. I like things, there are art rules and composition and color theory and all of that, and it's great, and I use it. But when I'm doing this, I just want to have a sense of where I want things and how I want the story to be told. Because a lot of this, in this style, in this way of creating, is like storytelling. And when we're planning, we're using storytelling, but we're using it to tell and plan the story that we want to have happen and the things that we know are going to happen or things that are going on. And we're storytelling, but we're planning with storytelling. And I think when we plan our story, kind of like with planning, if I can say it that way, this gets really confusing. I think when we're doing it that way, it helps us have a sense not necessarily of purpose but of direction, because I get caught a whole lot in the moment, in what I'm doing, focusing on where I'm at and what I'm doing and being right in that moment, and that's a good thing, because that's what art does, is it helps you be in the moment. But when I'm done and I'm coming out of that moment, I'm like, oh man, what's next? What do I need to do next? What's the next thing I need to do? I need to feed the cats, or I need to vacuum the floor, or I need to make dinner, or whatever. When I'm in that realm of really creating and doing things, I kind of lose sense of direction. And it's a good thing to be in the moment, but I need breadcrumbs sometimes to get me back to reality, can we say? So that's what this idea for me of planning for the month of April, or for any month for that matter. I'm not necessarily planning I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm doing that. I keep just a really simple composition notebook that I put the date at the top and the day, and I create it like 3 months ahead of time. And every day, or almost every day, I write down what I need to do. At the end of the day, I write down what I accomplished. And that helps me with breadcrumbs also, going back into, okay, this is where I was creatively, this is where I'm going. But when I'm doing this and I'm paying attention to maybe the month that we're in, that we're just getting into, or that we're thinking about, or that we're moving into, I'm thinking more of an overarching theme and how I want the month to proceed. Does it do that? No, not always. A lot of times it is a hot mess and nothing like I expected. And that's okay, because most of the time it's because God is redirecting what I thought needed to be done in my wisdom, which is not wisdom at all. But He's very, very good at going, girl, let's go this way. I know you thought you needed to go the other direction, but we're going to go this way. Trust me on this. So these are, I don't necessarily like the word intentions, but these are thoughts, and with these images, inklings and thoughts, and with the placement, it's like, well, where's the story? What is the story that April is going to tell? What is the story that it is going to be? And how can I sort of work with that and cooperate with that, or decide that I'm going to have a blooming, bountiful, beautiful April no matter what. You can see I am moving these around and switching them around and playing with them, and it's almost like decorating a room or playing with paper dolls or something to me. But it's not necessarily this is what I want it to look like and this goes here and this goes there. It's more of a feeling. It's more of a sense. And sometimes within that sense I realize I want to put more things on here, and I want to do more more mark making or more imagery on the page itself. And some of the pages, if you look back at a couple of the other videos, the spreads have had a lot more drawing in them or artwork, and some of them have had less. And this one ends up being kind of random and kind of in between, but I like the idea of having something to frame my month, to frame the spread, and in this case it ended up being these little scallops. And I'm really into scallops right now. For some reason, I just recorded a class and released it, or it's a bonus class in the one that I just released, and it has an entire, artful scripture lesson on breadcrumbs, and we use scallops. So I think I have scallops on the brain, but I like this idea of framing what we're doing and how we're doing it, and giving it, a set boundary. And boundaries are not a bad thing. They're a pretty good thing. So that's always something that I want to come back and look at is, do I want to put a boundary in here? Do I want to put a framework? And what does that mean other than visually? What does that mean to me personally? And where are my boundaries? And am I overstepping boundaries that I know I have? So I finished, as you can see, finally, playing with things and figuring out where I want them to go. And I'm using the Avery stickers, that it's a sheet of stickers, and I'll link it below. And these are the clear stickers. So everything I did today, well, no, that's not true. Everything I cut out so far have been the clear stickers. And in a minute, you'll see that it just did not. There were a couple of places that I was not happy with how the clear sticker worked. And I went back and used the regular sticker paper, which has a white background. So I kind of bounced back and forth between the two. And I know those little triangly things didn't look like much, but they're kites. And I didn't put the tail on them because I wanted you to be able to draw the little tail of the kite wherever you wanted it and decorate it. And it would be easier to just cut out the kite than it would be to try and cut around the tail. One of the things I like about this Avery sticker paper, as you can see, is I can pull it up once I put it down. I don't know if the white stuff will do that, just the regular sticker paper, but the clear one does. And I took the April showers and pulled it off of the white sticker paper and cut it apart, cut around it. And now I'm using the Uniball gel pen, which I did not plan on using, but you know how with me this happens. I find something else I want to use. So I grabbed the white one so I could write inside that little blue teal square. So don't be afraid or feel like you can't move things around or cut them apart or, do whatever you want to with them. Please do. These stickers are just like prompts. They're just here. Play with these. See what you can do with them. They're not in stone. And I've started it in the journaling, and the kites I kept thinking with the kites of flying away and letting things go. And that was where I came with, I wanted to let go of my very high expectations of myself and, the cultural beliefs that I may have, which I know I have, and, the idea of time, that I don't have enough time. That's a big one with me. And then I went over to the Vespa, which I realized I wanted to be moving forward. And I wanted to be moving forward by trusting God with the process and the outcome. And I wanted to hold on to and breathe in Jeremiah 29:11, which is, one of my mainstays, which I'm sure you've figured out by now. And I started thinking about April and how April for me, I want to be praying and accepting more art and more sharing of truth. And I want showers of peace and faith. And I want to be living truly from above, from the kingdom, not the constraints of earthly cultural ideas and thoughts. And I kind of got off camera down here. I'm sorry about that, but it says blooming and believing. And I decided a lot of times with these journals, I like to turn them sideways and write in them. And I wrote in this one for blooming that I wanted flowers and buds and baskets of color and petals of joy. And the idea of petals of joys is I wanted them scattered everywhere. And I wanted to be sure that I really highlighted that word blooming. And then I wanted to turn it back the other way to put believing. And the thing that I really am launching into and accepting is that everything is possible. Everything is possible. It's not, some things are possible, or this is possible, or that might be possible. It's everything is possible. And I'm really holding on to that right now. I guess you'd say in this season of my life, it's really important to me to think about that. And I really wanted to highlight it. And I wanted, again, more of an idea of a boundary, but I wanted it to be fluid. Um, I wanted it to be a fluid boundary. And here's the trick. If you draw a line and it ends up not being straight, draw a line towards it and fill it with little lines. And gosh, all of a sudden it looks like a straight line. It's one of those cool things of how our brain processes, as if I'm British, how it processes what we see and how we actually take things in. So just a little tip there for when you're drawing your lines. It's funny how I kept looking at this little bird and these feathers and those eggs that I actually didn't use. And I kept thinking about the hope is a thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words. I kept thinking about that and how much faith it takes to sing the tune without knowing the words. And of course, that led me to hope. Hope, of course, led me to faith. And then faith, of course, led me to love. And then the other two just came about. And it was very funny because I was looking those verses up, faith and love, and they just seem to go right there. And as I said, I don't plan this stuff when I sit down and do these. I just go, okay, what are we doing and what do I want for this month? Now, unfortunately, I did not, well, I thought I filmed doing that. And when I looked up at the camera, somehow I did not hit the record button appropriately. But here's like a still picture so you can see what happened and what came about. So yeah. Here is the double page spread and how it turned out for me. And I hope April brings you lots of joy. And I think my new mantra is everything is possible. So whatever it is that you want and you're thinking about, it's possible. Go enjoy it. Go do it.